afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Welcome, welcome. So,
It's the infinite couple.
I was just trying to see who was coming in. It's the Infinite Couple.
Okay.
Baba Richard and Sri Namaste More. And we are here to talk to you today about why you are having a hard time finding the right person, or why you keep attracting
The wrong person.
Right? So we want to go ahead and encourage you to grab a friend, some family, a follower, and share this with them, because we're going to go into some issues that keep showing up. This is something that we hear, we get asked about this quite a bit.
Right.
We have in the path of coming out with the dating for marriage or dating for the diet masterclass, one of the things that keeps showing up is we hear people saying, well, I know how to date.
Mm-hmm. I know how to do this.
I know how to
got
date.
that. I've got this down. The problem is
I just keep attracting the wrong person.
no matter what I do, I've gone from city to city, I've moved, I've showed up over here, and for some reason there seems to be, maybe there's a union hall where these people all meet with the intent of dating me, but they seem to be coming out of central casting with a certain market basket of character traits or whatever that makes them the wrong people.
Right. I just can't find the right person. I just can't find the right person. I can't seem to attract the right person.
Right.
I don't know why that is. I'm following everything to the letter, everything I've ever read or everything I've ever come across. I've done everything correctly, and I just keep...
These people.
It's not me.
Right.
It's those people.
Right. It's not me. Shit.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we want to talk about that because it shows up so often, and it actually prevents that ideology is one of the biggest things that keeps you from finding the right person. It influences you. It's telling you something, but if you don't know what it's really telling you and what it's really pointing to, then what you keep doing is looking at it as being there's some flaw or issue with everyone else because you are doing everything correctly. And so instead of doing the deeper work, you basically go sideways. You basically...
It becomes a vector to giving up.
Yeah, you give up.
In one way or another.
It's just not meant for me.
Right.
If it is meant, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stop caring about this so much because that must be the issue.
I got more important things to do with my life than keep messing around with this. It has this built-in excuse to it.
Yeah.
So let's jump right into it. The first thing that comes up is that you have this relentless, myopic focus on what you don't want instead of what you do want.
Yes.
And this is something that's so pervasive that it's hiding right there in plain sight, and many times people just can't see it. When you try to answer the question, what is it that you're looking for? And then you go into your typical monologue about what you don't want. Well, I'll tell you what I don't want. I don't want this, I don't want that. You got all kind of stories about your experiences. This happened one time, that happened another time. I absolutely do not want this in my life.
Well, the problem with this one, Baba, I think, is that a lot of people don't understand that just because you are saying what you want does not mean that your focus is not on what you don't want.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so you cannot trick the universe. The universe is incredibly accommodating. And because it is so accommodating and because it is actually at your service, say that with us, the universe is at my service, then the universe gives you what you are as opposed to what you desire. So when you are constantly focusing on what you don't want, even if you keep couching that in terms of what you do want, the universe reads frequency, and so it is saying, here you go.
Here you go. Here you go.
Here you go. So you're saying, I just want someone who's sober. But all you have to do to find out, are you really focused on what you don't want, is if I said, why? then what would come up immediately is because
I
I
don't
was
want
with
them,
somebody
right?
who, or
And I
I
don't want
know
somebody like
someone
that, right.
who overdrinks, who's an alcoholic. I know someone who, is a drug addict and is irresponsible. And so even though it's cloaked as, I just want
This is what
someone
I
that's
want.
sober.
Right.
Underneath it is actually the truth, which is that you're really focusing on what you don't want. You've just learned a more sophisticated way to say what you don't want. And that we could actually just end this right now. We could end this end this live right now because
with respect to all of that you just said, one thing that we can be sure of is that you will absolutely get that thing that you do not want because your specification for it is so clear. You're absolutely clear on that thing.
Yep.
And you're clear on it to a degree that it totally dwarfs your actual specification for what you do want.
Right.
Because you've got so many data points, you've got so many examples, you've got so much energetic intensity around that it's almost impossible for you to not get that.
Exactly. You are very and viscerally, emotionally connected to what you don't want. You have experiences. Think about it.
Yeah.
If you are single right now and you are looking for and you desire a relationship, all of your history is based on don't want. You know how you know it's based on don't want? Because you are alone now. And we're not saying that to be mean. We're saying that because it's true.
Right.
If it was based on what you did want, you would have that person in your life right now, right? So therefore, you have a lot of energy around what you don't want. And that energetic intensity, as Baba was saying, is what is leading the way. It's where
attractive.
you are.
Yeah.
So you have to get out of that. You have to let that go. You have to focus on what you do want, and not just with lip service, not just with saying it, but literally with unhooking yourself from the fear of what you don't want.
Yeah, you can say that again 5 times fast.
You have to unhook yourself.
Unhook yourself. Right. So that means that unhook yourself from the notion that there needs to be some equity or some fairness in this. The bad things that have happened in the past, somebody needs to hear my tale of woe, because then at least they will know that I have learned something from those bad experiences, etc. You're going to have to go forward in the energy of the unfairness that nobody needs to hear that because it's not relevant to where you're trying to go.
Exactly.
You don't need to tell that story before you get to the good part.
Nope.
It doesn't need to be a backdrop to your experience. The new person that you're talking to, that you're having coffee with or whatever, doesn't need to hear the horror stories in order to appreciate you in that present moment. You can go forward without that narrative accompanying you everywhere you go.
Right.
Stop feeding it.
Right. Exactly. So here's the next one. You either have no boundaries or your boundaries are super rigid. Now tell the truth. Which one is it that you have? Our experience has been that most people say that, no, everything happens because I don't have good boundaries. And I would say that is probably not true. What it is that your boundaries are super rigid. They're really rigid, but you don't let anybody see that until after you're already with them.
Right.
So you pretend to have these very malleable boundaries. And then once the commitment is there, or once the expectation of commitment is there, then those rigid boundaries rise to the surface as being the reality of your being. And both of which are based on fear. Both of which are based on fear. No boundaries is based on, I'm afraid that if I say what's really important to me, that I won't get it,
Right.
and that this person will reject me. And rigid boundaries are based on, I'm afraid of settling, or I'm afraid of getting something different. And so the way I make sure that I get what I feel like I am worth
By locking down the controls and making sure that you have the right boundaries and you're looking for the right things and you are ready to call a halt to all these proceedings at a moment's notice. Why? Because of your boundaries. Looking at this person, they don't know that you're looking at them so closely, and you're making decisions about the whole person based on one thing. All you need to do is say this, and I'm out of here. I may still be sitting here, but energetically and emotionally, I'm in my car going home.
You know, it's really interesting, Bob, because the other day I was watching something and this gentleman was talking about relationships. And he said, let me see if I can get it right. You will know a person's character based on their consistency. So whatever they do consistently, that is showing you what their actual character is. You will know if they're lying based on the things that they do that are out of their consistent habits. So you can tell if somebody is lying to you in some capacity because they break whatever their habituation is, and that lets you know, oh, they're doing something that's, you know, they're living some sort of lie because it was a break in their consistency. Now, the issue with that, I was watching it and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. But what happens is that people find out that information that sounds very interesting, that sounds very provocative, right? And they listen to something like that, and then they begin to project that upon the person that they might be dating, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking for, what are you, where are you, first of all, they get it wrong. Where are you inconsistent at? You know, okay, so one day you said this, and then the next day you said that, so that's showing me that you're a liar, you know, and then they start misapplying things, and they go into this huge judgment loop.
Well, yeah, you can see how that fear can show up, and it can show up for the same action. And here's the thing about the fear is that it's never satisfied. You're sitting there, you're just having a coffee date. The person never touches their phone, and you go, are you trying to make me believe that you don't know anybody in the world who would be trying to call you and your phone is just like completely silent, right? So therefore, I know something about this person. Or their phone actually buzzes or rings and they look at it and you go, who does that? Didn't you know you were going on? Oh, you probably got all kinds of people chasing after you, and you trying to sit here like, yeah, I'm supposed to believe that you're
If
single.
he can't even give me his full attention in a coffee date, how is he possibly going to give me his attention during the course of a relationship? He is showing me who he is, and I need to believe him.
Right. Or you can even, or maybe it's not the phone. Maybe it's just going on a coffee date. You can look at that from both ends of the spectrum, right? Oh, well, he just wants to go for coffee, which means that
He's cheap.
he's probably cheap. He probably even live around here. He doesn't want to be any place where anybody might recognize him and know he's trying to do this single thing, but I know he's not really single. Or you can look at it like, oh, so we're going for coffee, which means that, well, he probably can't afford anything like more than that. So he's trying to do something cheap. He probably expects me to pay for this coffee.
Or we're just going for coffee, so that must mean that she's not really interested in me. Because why would she just want to go for coffee? Like, that's just something that people do when they're just being nice.
Just being nice, yeah.
Right? So you can start projecting onto anyone that you're dating all of your own beliefs, which is about your limiting beliefs, right? Another thing is your history giving you lies that you continue to tell yourself about who you are and what you want.
Right.
This is a huge one, okay? So let me give you guys an example, because sometimes this is difficult for people to really see in themselves, right? You may have been telling yourself for a long, long time, okay, that I don't care about looks. I don't care, right? And so because you are constantly telling yourself that and not being honest with yourself, then the universe keeps sending you, because it's like, okay, well, yeah, all right.
All right, here you
so
go.
you keep getting people who aren't your preferred attraction. You just aren't attracted to them.
Right.
Right? And you're wondering, well, why does this keep happening?
Why does this keep happening?
Why does that keep happening? Or conversely, you keep attracting people for whom you aren't attracted. They aren't attracted to you. So for some reason, you keep wanting to be with people who are like, you're not my type. You're not my type. I'm not feeling it. Right? Because the universe fundamentally is trying to show you where there's dissonance in your frequency, where what you're saying you want is not really what you want. Here's another one. I only care about what's on the inside. Right? I only care about what's on the inside. But in reality, you want to be a housewife, which means that you would have to be with a man who had the capacity to take care of you and to provide for you.
So when you're saying I don't care, I only care about what's on the inside, you're saying that, I really don't care about provision for money or those types of things. It's all just about love and connection.
And you're lying. Now, it's a very beautiful lie, but it's still a lie.
Yeah, it certainly will play well in mixed company. People
Yeah.
go, oh, yeah, right. I can see
that's
that.
all I care about,
right,
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
so
don't really
noble.
care about marriage. I just want someone, because we can have connection beyond
Right,
that.
yeah.
Stop lying. Stop lying. Okay?
Yeah, because you can't possibly get into a situation where you are having this deep, rich conversation with someone who shares your same values when you're constantly broadcasting that you don't want that.
Right.
Or that you don't care about that.
Or you're telling this lie about things that you value that you don't really value. Oh, it's really important to me that he's conscious. Why? What does consciousness even mean in the context that you're using it? It's really important to me that we have the same religion. Is it really? Do you really care?
Why?
And why? Since, spirituality and religion is about his relationship with Source, not his relationship with you. So if that's what you're placing as this is what I value most, then you will keep attracting those people. And you're like, well, why do I because you keep saying that that's what you want. I want this person that's like this. But the reality is that I don't really care about his relationship with Source so much as it is that he respects mine. See, that's different.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, and you need to be really clear on that.
Right? I care more about his character than about his consciousness because one does not have anything to do with the other. Okay? So you want to be really clear on that and make sure that you're being honest with yourself about the things that are valuable to you versus, playing this is what everybody says is important. I want a man who respects me. Why? I was talking to someone the other day and I was saying, women, actually, we are far more fulfilled by appreciation than we are by respect. And a lot of women are saying that they want to be respected by the man in their life and they don't understand how masculine respect happens, and so then they attract men who respect them but don't necessarily want to take care of them, don't treat them tenderly, don't feel like they need to protect them because I respect you, so you don't need my protection. And then they're wondering, why do I keep getting this? It's like, well, you said that that's what you wanted was respect. I want appreciation.
Right. And the masculine actually thrives on respect. And so that's why we hold that as being very at the top of our list in terms of these things that we hold to be extremely valuable. Now, here's where that doesn't serve you as a masculine being. Saying, constantly broadcasting to the universe that, I want somebody who's just, she's like tough and she's, down for what was hers and she goes out and she's just like, she's just like me. And then you keep getting with these women who aren't attracted to you and you're not really attracted to them. And you sit there and you have these awkward pauses where you're trying to just figure out something to say. Why? Because the interest just isn't there. Right. To say, I want somebody who is soft and kind and gentle and loving and caring, who respects me.
That's huge.
That's huge. Now, when she shows up, then that inspires fascination in you. Right. And you can't get enough of her. You can't, it's like, I just want to ask you questions. I just want, what sector of heaven did you fall out of? I want to find out everything I can about you. I want this moment to last forever. I have that fascination. Why? Because there's a responsive chord there. Now you sitting there across the table from somebody who's all soldiered up. She's all armored up, and you're like, man, this is like trying to lick my car. All it takes is metal and dust. It's like, this is not fun at all.
Or not allowing
She's like,
for
I'm
the
a soldier. And you're like,
no soldiers.
That's not working for me.
No soldiers.
But you think, based on the lies that you've absorbed, that you should, that's the modern thing. You need somebody who's tough like that.
But I think, Baba, there's something that you just said that really kind of struck me, is that for a man to say, I require a woman that respects me, that is not something that I hear men saying. I hear women saying all the time, I want him to respect me, I want him to respect me, I want him to respect me. Usually what I hear men saying is like, basically, I just want to find somebody.
Somebody,
it's almost
period.
like
Yeah.
they're not really putting in the spec for what they really want. And I think that is huge, is that
is it any wonder that you don't get
that
what your
that's
heart
one
desires?
of the reasons why.
Right, because you're broadcasting. If you're coming to the table with, I just want somebody who likes me, and the respect isn't there, what's going to happen is that you're going to get what you end up putting up with.
Wow. Wow.
And you're going to try to make yourself satisfied with that. And that is going to lead to a compartmentalized life. Because there's going to be something in you that's going to say, this doesn't really feel good. Maybe that over there will make me feel better.
Right.
Maybe staying at work will make me feel better. Maybe making more money will make me feel better. Maybe starting another relationship while I'm still in this one will make me feel better.
Right, because then you start looking for, because you aren't with a woman who is resident within her femininity, what you start doing is seeking a woman who is, because that desire for the feminine is always going to be resident. Right. And so you're going to start, and this is in no way to say that it is a woman's fault, if her beloved cheats, but it is to say and understand that sometimes, especially in the dating, because we're talking about dating right here, in the dating world, where is that? Okay. In the dating world, what will happen is, because you aren't really connected to a woman and you aren't dating a woman who is connected to her feminine, now you are trying to force yourself to be interested and desirous of the woman who seems the most desirous of you.
Right. Yeah.
Because you haven't allowed yourself to fully say, you know what, this is what I require. And this is one of the biggest things that we see with men. And so before we go too deeply into that, I want to say
Lack of
this.
intensity.
And that is that men and women have different issues as far as why they keep attracting the wrong person, right? And a lot of why men keep attracting the wrong women is because, first of all, men, you are not attracting the woman, you are going out and finding her.
You're wooing her. You're seeking her.
Her? Who's her? The woman that meets your spec. If you haven't created one, then basically what you're doing is you've just got a line out there, and whatever fish happens to bite it, you say that must be the one for me, and that is a recipe for being unhappy.
Right. Yeah. Because what happens is, if you're not specific about what you're fishing for, then you try to make a meal out of whatever you catch. And that many times is going to not be nutritious. It's not going to be good for you. It's not going to sit well in the belly. And
It's not tasty.
It's not tasty. It's just not tasty, bruh. It's not tasty. No. There's a way to do this thing. And that is, you know what? You have to have the right bait. You have to know what you're fishing for. You got to know what you're hunting for. And I'm using all of these words, and I know that when I'm saying them, there's a lot of people that are going, ouch. Seeking, hunting, that being aggressive and intense about your specification. Right. This is the most important quest you will ever be on, is to find her. Out of all the people on the planet, to seek that one person who you are going to travel the rest of this journey with.
Yes.
There isn't any other mission that's more important than that.
So if you are a man and you find yourself constantly attracting the wrong women, it's because you aren't making a decision on what kind of woman you actually require, not just want, but require for your vision, for your purpose, for where you are going. And then actively seeking her out.
Absolutely.
Actively finding her, right? And if you're a woman and you're like, I keep attracting the wrong men, it's because you really aren't focused on the right things. Okay? So what you think you want and what you are trying to do. So what I'm hearing right now is that what's happening for a lot of women is you're trying to find a man to fit into your life instead of looking for the man whose life you desire to fit into. And I'm telling you, ladies, if you don't ever listen to anything else I say, believe me, this will create more fulfillment in your entire life than anything else. You must seek out or open yourself to meeting and attracting the man whose life you desire to fit into. You desire to complement his vision, not vice versa. Not the man that you think is going to complement your vision.
Right.
Not the man that you think is going to fit with where you feel like you are supposed to go, because you are not the pattern maker. You receive the pattern from him. And so the pattern that you think you have based on you being a single woman is going to be ejected when you find your beloved.
Right.
Okay?
Now, here's the thing on our side of the equation. You have to have a vision and have a direction that you're going in. Because a lot of people are looking at this thing, and you hear a lot of questions. We get, like, when people, even on this broadcast, have asked, well, what about men who are looking for somebody to, contribute, and you got to we're going to take yours and mesh it with mine, and then we could go on together. That's why I need a soldier who's going to just forge ahead. No, that's called being in survival mode.
Yes.
You're trying to survive, and so it seems obvious that, well, two heads are better than one. We take your resources and mix them with mine, and then we can go forward. No, what happens is I have a vision. I have a direction I'm going in. This is the adventure that I'm going on, and I need her with me. With not leading me down and saying, well, she's going to have the resources and we're going to put it together. And it's like, what do you want to do? No. This is already in progress. I have a dream. I have a goal. I have a vision. I'm going somewhere with this thing. And I need you to be there with me.
Right. And
on this journey.
That's the interesting thing, because what he is looking for is he is bringing the resources and she is bringing the resourcefulness.
Right.
Meaning that the resources and then making those resources more. It's not that I'm looking for her resources and my resources. No, I'm looking for, I have the resources, and now what she brings is the capacity to make those resources matter, to make them larger, to make more, right? So it's like, he gives her seed, she gives him a child, he gives her a house, she gives him a home, and so on and so forth. So what the feminine does, is she takes what the masculine gives her and she makes it more than the sum of its parts.
Yes.
That's why the feminine holds mystery, because how can 1 and 1 make 11? Well, when you have the masculine and feminine together, it becomes way more. It's not 1 + 1 = 2. It's 1 + 1 is 11, right? It's different. And it is a mystery. Your logical mind cannot understand it.
Right.
You don't have to understand it to, 1, know the truth of it, and 2, live in alignment with it.
And you do this all the time. You don't have to be an ASE certified mechanic in order to get in your car, turn the key, and put it in drive and go down the road. These things work because they do, not because you understand every little intricate part of it and how it goes together. So you can trust in that. It's like, you know what? I have a vision. How is she going to help magnify this thing and make it even bigger? I don't know. But my first and foremost job is to find her, to woo her, right? And to say, you know what, this is the adventure. This is the thing that I'm on. This is what I'm about. This is where I'm going. I'm not in survival mode. I'm in conquer mode, right? So I am making something out of this life that I've been given. Well, Baba, what if I'm not ready and I need her resources in order to do it? Well, you're not ready. We're not talking to you. This broadcast is not for you. You just need to step your game up, right?
Get ready.
Stand on your own
and then
2
come
feet.
back.
Get ready and then come back, right?
So another thing that gets in the way is comfort zone. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their comfort zone. Comfort zone are the places that you like to hang out at. Mm-hmm. The comfort zone of the kind of people, the kind of conversation you're used to having. The comfort zone of you know how you think things are supposed to be. What kind of food you like to eat. Mm-hmm. You know, that kind of stuff. Well, if you are focused on your comfort zone, that is probably why you can't attract the person that is for you. Because people are confusing commonality with compatibility.
Just because you both like Lucky Charms does not mean that you should build a life together.
I love Lucky Charms.
And it's a tasty cereal. But that's not enough to build a life together on.
We have similar pain.
Oh, see, that commonality. Yeah, your heart was broken. My heart was broken too. So therefore, we can come together and we know what we don't want.
What we don't want.
So based on that recipe, what cake do you think is coming out of the oven? Yeah. A big ass don't want cake.
You've been betrayed by a form of love, mm-hmm. and so have I.
Right.
You know, you grew up in the hood. And so did I.
Right.
You're brown, and so am I. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're not leaving anything off the table. Mm-mm. That commonality will cause you to seek people, and you're looking for sameness. Mm-hmm. But the reality is that true marriage, and actually what is arising now, which is the dyadic consciousness, mm-hmm. requires diversity.
Diversity and polarity. Yes.
And polarity,
yes.
which is not sameness.
Mm-mm. It's not sameness. Right. So that comfort zone, you got to get out of that, right? Because maybe you grew up in the hood. So what?
So what?
Maybe your forever person was raised in the south of France. And you come over here and they only here for 2 weeks and you happen to meet them at the HEB. Y'all in the grocery store looking at cantaloupes and it's like, it's you.
But it'll never work. Because we're too different.
We're so different.
That's not really true.
No, that's not true at all.
That's not the issue. The issue is that as long as that difference and there's a compatibility. Yeah. Baba and I grew up very different. Okay? I grew up, my dad wasn't around when I grew up. Baba grew up, his mother and father were married until they passed away. Mm-hmm. One marriage, right? Mm-hmm. He grew up in pretty much one or two places in the same area.
Right. My parents moved one time.
All over the place when I was growing mm-hmm. up. Okay? We grew up in very different environments and had very different experiences.
I went to the same, from elementary school up until college. It was really weird because every mascot that I played under was the Wildcats. In every school I went to, right? Up to the university level. I was in Illinois, and you moved all over the country.
All over the country.
Yeah.
I went to so many schools, I can't even remember. Mm-hmm. Baba tells me the names of people he went to school with. Oh yeah, I had this friend. I can only remember the names of like 2 people that I went to school with.
Because you went to school with so many different people.
Because I went to school with so many different people, right? Mm-hmm. That commonality is not necessary. Mm-hmm. What happens when you do things based on commonality is that means that you are not focusing on your future, you're focusing on your past. Mm-hmm. How you should be focused more on vision.
Where you're going.
Where are we going? Yeah. So, and specifically because men and women are different, mm-hmm. he is expressing where he wants to go, what he desires, what's important to him, and you are asking yourself,
can I get down with
Can
that?
I get with that?
Yes.
Do I desire, is there something in me that wants to support that, mm-hmm. that wants to be a part of that, mm-hmm. that wants to support him in that believes him, and that even if he changes his mind, because this is huge, I'm still with it.
Right. Yeah.
I want to, oh, that's where you going? Huh. Okay. Because sometimes things do change, right?
Right. But that is that resilience that you have as the masculine, that no matter whatness, this is my dream, this is my goal, this is where I'm going. This is the trajectory of my life that I've plotted. Yes, everything may not go the way that I anticipate. I'll course correct, and I'm going in this direction. I'm still going in that general direction, even if I have to take a detour. Are you with me?
Right. Here's another thing that gets in the way of, or if you keep attracting the wrong people, and that is that you aren't focusing on character. Okay, or you don't really understand what character is. So what you want to figure out is what type of character is important to me. And I'm going to say this, and this is maybe people like, oh, but consistency is overrated as far as a character trait. Consistency is way overrated.
Well, it's easy. It's easy to throw that out.
Yeah, I like consistency. It's like
I like to breathe.
The only thing that's constant in life is change, right?
Yeah.
But what you do want to look at is what does this person say about themselves? So the easiest way to find a person's character, I'm going to give you guys this huge tip, is to offer them absolute acceptance. Because when you offer someone absolute acceptance of who they are, they will reveal their character to you with ease. When you begin your dating process, you're going out on dates and you think that you're showing how,
discriminating you.
I am so discriminating. I am so high class.
Right.
I'm such a high value woman. You think you're displaying all of that by constantly being, I don't like this and I don't tolerate this and I won't.
Again, there's that don't want, don't like. That is not discriminating.
No, it's not discriminating. And the only thing you're doing is ensuring that person will never show to you who they really are.
Right.
However, if you offer every person who sits in front of you when you're on a date two things: absolute love, divine love, that is, and absolute acceptance, you will never be worried about being tricked.
Right.
You don't have to be worried about being tricked,
right,
because whoever they are, you're like, I'm accepting, so they're going to show you exactly who they are. Exactly who they are in a way that you will not get with all of your don't want, has to be, must be like this, can't be like that. You're not going to get that.
Because you're not leading with that representative, that fake person. You're actually leading with love and showing and having that open heart. And what that does is that strikes a responsive chord, especially in the masculine. I want to show you me. I want to tell you about, who I am really and truly. But here's the thing, we just giving out the tips today. Okay. Can you do that without complaining? Complaining is the sure way to let your representative come up with that, the fake history, it's so fake, right? Because it's based, again, on a variant of what you don't want. I didn't like this. I don't like this. That complaint. Don't complain. If you find yourself starting to complain about something, stop. What can you say in that moment that isn't a complaint? That will be revelatory about your true character. And when that leads to questions that you can ask.
And when you're not on a date, stop complaining. So it's not about just not complaining on the date.
Right. Because whatever you do, you get whatever you do a lot, you get good at, right?
So if you think, okay, so just don't complain when I'm on dates. Got it. Stop complaining.
Period.
Period. Period.
Stop complaining.
Okay? And actually, the same thing is true for men. If you give appreciation and acceptance to every woman who sits in front of you, she will show you who she is.
Absolutely.
You don't have to worry about women are liars and they're manipulative and duplicitous. Gentlemen, I understand why you feel that way. I really do. Because I know I'm a woman, right? We go out on dates, we're smelling all good, looking all pretty, right? And smiling, and then you don't find out till later what she's really about, right?
Yeah.
But bring up some difficult topics and see what she has to say. The quickest way for her to reveal herself to you is to ask her about herself. The reason why a lot of men feel tricked is because you guys got enamored of the fact that she wanted to hear about you, and you didn't ask her.
Stopped asking questions
about her.
Right.
Ask her. So what do you think about so-and-so? World events is a really beautiful way to find out how she really feels about things. In other words, if certain things are happening in world events, and she's always, every time anything happens with a couple, she's always saying that the woman was right and the man is wrong, she's telling you something. She is telling you something.
Right. Yeah.
Okay? If anytime I don't believe in the patriarchy, she's telling you something. Because a woman who says she doesn't believe in the patriarchy, she's going to have a problem when you try to lead her to do anything. And she will say that you are a part of that very same patriarchy that she is against. Okay?
But there it is, though, right? You have to be clear on the fact that, you know what? I am a leader. I want to be with a woman who's content with following my lead. Now that is like, who says that? Who can be that transparent with what they want? You know what? You can't get what you want without being transparent about what it is that your heart desires.
So somebody said, what is the difference between a complaint and a concern? There's no reason for you to bring up concerns on a date. You're dating. Why are you bringing up concerns? Talk to about your concerns.
Another variant of don't want.
Don't want. And it's not time for that.
Right.
When you're dating, your concerns are your issue. They're not the person that you're dating issue, because you're not at that point in a relationship, because you're not in a relationship with them yet. Okay? So it's really important to understand. Yeah, you guys hear that thunder? That's because we're breaking up stuff.
Right.
Okay? Breaking up some stuff. Breaking up some constructs here. Okay?
Yep, thunder and lightning is happening.
So it's really important for you to understand, okay, wait, I'm going to actually ask questions. And as a man, I am actually going to ask questions about who she is. I'm going to ask her, I'm going to bring up things, like I said, world events and things of that nature. I'm going to see how does she feel about certain things. I'm also going to have the courage to say what my requirements are in a relationship, what I actually want. I'm not going to be a coward.
Try to pretend like I don't have any.
And pretend that, like I don't care.
Right.
Or it's just whatever she wants,
right.
I want.
Or this whole thing, we just like to see how things go and, just do it organically and just see where we end up.
No, that's not what you want to do.
No, it's not what you want to do.
It does not benefit you.
Very clear. Very clear. She will appreciate your clarity in saying, this is the kind of man that I am. This is where my life is going. This is the kind of woman that I'm looking for. This is what I want out of life.
Yes.
Being very clear about that and unequivocal about it.
Now, believe it or not, you can do all of that without judgment. Without judgment. Because saying, okay, the way this person wants to live their life is not the way I want to live my life is a very clear thing. It's not a judgment. I will also say that if you have gone on a lot of dates, I mean, you go on date after 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 date, and everybody, there's something wrong with them, something wrong with that, and then when you finally find somebody that you like, they don't pick you, it's because you are in judgment, even if you're not saying judgy things.
Because judging is about how you act.
Yeah.
Not just what you say.
Right? So you aren't really, even though you're saying, well, yes, I will date these people and see if they're a match, you're not really open to them being a match, because when you saw their profile or any number of things, you already decided that this is not someone that I would potentially want to, and I am unwilling to change my mind.
Right. And so then you're just using the dating experience as a validator for the decision that you've already made.
Instead of saying, you know what, I may have had some thoughts, some limiting beliefs, that now that I'm in the presence of this person, I find that I can see that they are limiting beliefs and not values. I thought that was a value, and now I'm finding, it's actually not a value. It was just a limiting belief that I was holding. And I'm willing to change that.
I'm willing to let that go. Right.
I thought I wouldn't be with someone who already had children. But you know what? And this is how you know. When I think about what I was thinking when I felt that way, is all I saw was drama. All I saw was pain. All I saw was this. And now I'm in this.
All I saw was the opinions of people in my circle who I knew wasn't going to be down with that, even if I was.
And now...
That must have been a big one.
And now that we're here and we're in it, I actually can see that, I want to learn how to be a mom, or I want to learn how to be a dad. You know, I that's something that I do want, that's actually important to me.
Right.
And I'm looking forward to it. And I thought that was a value of mine, but I understand now that it's actually not. It was just a limiting belief disguised as a value.
Right. Or I want to learn, and I want, you know, the fact that we come from two different cultures or from two different places on the planet is not that big of a deal.
Right.
It's like, I don't even know why I thought that was a big deal. Oh, I know why. Because I knew that my aunt and my uncles and all the people in my circle would look at that person if they weren't just like me and feel some kind of way about it. So I let that limiting belief govern my behavior. But I am 100% grown ass man, and I can make my own decisions. And if the divine puts her in my way, and I'm looking for her, and it strikes that responsive chord, I don't care where she comes from. We're going together.
You know, I have an example of that. And when Baba and I were first met, at that time in my life, I said, I don't date men of color. I don't date black men. That's exactly what I said to him. He said this to him while we were on a date. Well, I don't date black men. And he said, well, neither do I.
Neither do I. We have that in common.
And it shocked me because, one, he wasn't offended or upset by it. And two, that it made me ask myself, as we kept getting to know each other, why did I have that belief?
Because you hadn't met me.
Because I hadn't met him. Because I hadn't met him. And because of, and this is a really good example of something we were speaking about earlier, previous experiences. I was projecting onto our situation my previous experiences. Well, every black man that I've been with had excuses and was talking about the man and us versus them. And I don't want to live my life based on us versus them and the man and all this other stuff. I don't want that in my world. So therefore, I made that connection. That didn't make it true.
Right. And I didn't identify with that. So therefore, when she said that, I knew she wasn't talking about me. Which is why I said, well, I don't date black men either. So anyway.
Now just think. Just take a moment. If I had said to myself, no, he cannot be the right person for me. He can't, that must be, nope, because I've already decided. Think of the effects of that in the world.
Right.
I think about the thousands of people that we've touched. I think about our children. I think about everything and how
all the
much
conferences, all the classes we've taught, all of the outreach that we've done, all of the relationships and the marriages that have started, you know, and have been healed, and all of the things that we have done to this point, none of that would have taken place if we had allowed our limiting beliefs to govern where we were going and what we truly, truly desired in our hearts.
So that brings up something that I didn't even know was a thing, but I'm feeling it right now. That one of the things that keeps you from attracting the right person is because you actually think that the right person is just about you. You think it's just about us loving each other. And the reality is that your purpose, the thing that you're actually here to do,
The great work that you are supposed to do in the world, yeah.
the greatness that you want and that you are here to actualize is dependent upon your marriage and who you marry.
Right.
And that thing coming to pass. And if you do not have the correct perspective, if you really think it's just about us liking each other and us surviving, and I want somebody who can meet my needs, and you think that is not the conversation of God's, which is what you are, beloved.
Which is what you are, absolutely.
And so in order for you to meet the person, the right person, you have to expand beyond your limiting beliefs, beyond your lack-based beliefs, and your wants and grasping and needs and pains
and complaints
and complaints and all of that, so that you can meet them, come into unification with them, and then get busy doing your great work. Because no matter how much you think the work that you have done and before you met them, how great you think it is, I promise you, beloved, it pales
It's not
in
anything to
comparison.
compare what happens next. Oh my goodness. It is literally the most important decision you will ever make, is finding your person and embarking on that adventure together.
And that's what we're here to help you do.
Yep, absolutely.
And now we are offering the Dating for Marriage Masterclass live. If you want to find your one, you need to be in it, period, end of story, period.
Right. Because we pull no punches. And we will tell you exactly what you need to do in order to find your person. And this is the only teaching that I know of where the outcome is guaranteed.
We guarantee that you'll be engaged within a year. If you're already in a relationship, it's still of benefit to you, because through it you will learn the questions that you need to ask before you get married. And if you are already married, it still benefits you, because I guarantee you there are things here that you do not know about you or your significant other. And your marriage continuing and actually becoming a marriage and not just a wedding that you had depends upon your capacity to really get to know each other. And that's something that was very interesting to us when that really landed, when Spirit said that, was when we asked Spirit, well, who is this for? And Spirit said, well, it's for married people too. We were like, wait, why would it be for married people?
Because they want to stay married.
And because they want to stay married.
And they want that union to deepen and grow.
And the vast majority of married people, the only thing they have learned is how to navigate around over years, so they don't even realize it, how to navigate around the landmines and what they can talk about and what they can't
talk about,
and
right.
where their connection points are and where they differ. And so they've never really entered, while they had a wedding, they never have entered into true marriage, and they definitely haven't entered into the dyadic space.
Consciousness, yes.
And so this is the beginning of that. And so if you want to join us in that, go ahead and put hashtag dating, and we will make sure you get a link.
Absolutely.
Anything else, Baba?
I think that's it.
All right. We love you guys.
See you next time.
Mwah.